What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Today we have an exciting knife to dig into. No, it is not a honey badger. We do have two separate knives in this case, neither of which I have checked out yet. I do know what knives are in here, but I do not know what order we're going to get them out. We will do one now and one in a separate video. They are both as premium gets. So let's go ahead and dig into this thing, and this would not be possible without Jamie, or Heyman as you may know him. He sent these in for me to check out. So let's grab the very first one that we come to here, and the very first one we come to is the Koenig Arius, and I have never handled one of these. This thing is absolutely gorgeous, and I would have to say, for my first time handling this knife, holding this knife, it does not disappoint, guys. This thing is very nice, a very unique looking design. Let's give this thing a flick out. Oh, just on first impressions, guys, this has some of the best action I've ever handled, and it might even be up there with the absolute best. The detent is nice and strong, but it's tuned to the point where it is very strong, but not so strong that it's annoying. Wow. You can wind up on that flipper. Now, a lot of guys, I think, will choose to get this knife without the flipper because they make just a cutout version. In my opinion, I would take the flipper. I think guys who have never handled this knife and opt for just the cutout. Now, if that's all you can get and you want one, then yeah, definitely. But if you have the choice, I think you are missing out on not getting a flipper version, because that is very satisfying. Now, some guys will say, well, it'll get in the way of the ergos and this and that. Let's be real. I think 99.99% of people will never use this knife with the need of being able to get up behind that edge to do some sort of cut or some sort of work like that. You're just not. So I don't really believe that. And this is extremely comfortable right here. And I think this will handle every task that 99.99% of people would ever need to do with this knife. Even if you were using this as an everyday carry and you did plan on using it, I think this is going to be perfectly fine. You know what I mean? That flipper tab is not going to get in your way, and some people might prefer it for the guard. I know I prefer, if I can get a cutout and a flipper, that's typically what I will go with. Don't get me wrong, I love a cutout, but I also love the ability to thumb, reverse, and use a flipper tab of some sort, whether it is a front flipper or whether it is a rear flipper. I like having a fuller cutout stud with a flipper of some sort. I really like that combo, and that's typically what I opt for. Now, if you just hate flipper tabs and you always have, then yeah, it definitely makes sense to get it without the flipper. But I think, if you're on the fence, I would go with the flipper, because like I said, the chances that this is going to really, truly be in your way for using it, I just don't see it. I don't think it is going to be an issue. You have this beautiful drop point blade, and this two-tone finish stands out beautifully. I don't know exactly what finish this is, but it has like it's got like a satin tumble look to it, but it's very pristine, very nice looking. And then this almost looks like a hand rub satin or a horizontal satin up here. So it really stands out between the two. There's a big difference. And then this is very nice. You can kind of see the outline here of this chamfer on the blade. It's on both sides and it looks very good. Nice drop point blade. You have this straight edge, little bit of belly, nice little pokey tip there. The cutout is done very well. I can say one thing. I'm more used to cutouts and studs being closer, but this just works. It's a little more extended from the handle than what I'm used to, I want to say, but it just works very good. Like if we, look how close this whole cutout is opposed to that one. It's just a little closer. So this is a different feeling, but it works and it feels very good to thumb and reverse flick it out. You can just ride that cutout all the way up to the top and the thumb flick feels amazing on this thing. This is a knife that I can see myself getting even more so than the Rosie. This is more my size and more what I would look for in a knife. Something just like this. Maybe not the same handle, and even if it was, I'd be fine with it. The only thing I could really say is, now that we're really diving into this thing, I would like to see a full length or as far up as he can run a backspacer up this thing. That would just add to the ergos. I think that would even add a little bit to the aesthetic. Even if you ran it up into this area here, I think that would really crispen and clean this knife up even more than it already is. It's comfortable, but I think that backspacer would add even more comfort. Yeah, it might add a touch of weight, but it's not going to be enough difference to make a difference. And then we have a lanyard hole down here that's integrated in with the backspacer. This thing is just clean looking, guys. You have two tooled screws here. Then you just have a nice clean pivot. You have two tooled screws here, your tooled side of your pivot, and then of course you have your lock bar insert, I believe, there. And then the screw for the clip is hidden. It just looks very clean, guys. And then the cutout there, the lock bar cutout actually has some micro milling, which gives it a little pop on this clip side. Now, I'm sure, I don't know for sure, but I have to believe that there are different handle versions out there. I know there's flipper and non-flipper versions, and I'm guessing they're doing different styles of handles, whether it's micro milling or I don't know if they're doing inlays or what, but I'm sure that stuff is all coming. This is more of a, just a clean bead blast look. A simple titanium finish, but this is executed very well. It looks good, looks clean. Everything is nicely softened. And this thing just locks you in. And this grip here, this just feels solid. This nice little ramp here to put your thumb on. And I could see this not being here, this being a choil area, and I could see, maybe, but like I said, for this knife and the price of this knife, let's be real, this is going to be a casual user for mostly everyone. So nobody, not very many people are going to be out hard using this knife, pouring concrete and using this as their, beater knife. Very rarely. Very few people are going to be doing that. So I just don't see the flipper being an issue ergonomically. Good access to that lock bar, and they have some nice fine jimping there on the face. Works very good. There's plenty of room to get into the lock bar there. They chamfer this out very nicely, and you can get to that very easily. And I can say the lock bar does not, I don't know where my hand falls, but I'm on that lock bar. Maybe not a ton, maybe not a lot of pressure, but I'm on it a little bit with this finger and a little bit here. And typically that's enough to lock you out of most knives, but not on this one. This is very easy to manipulate, open and closed. The lockup is still breaking in. I'm assuming this is, a fairly newer knife to Jamie, and or not something he has carried and used a ton. So, you got very early lockup there, but I would have to believe this is solid. It's not something I'm going to test, as this is not my knife, but just because it's early lockup does not mean anything. That could still be solid as a rock. With Jamie's approval, I could see testing this maybe in the overview of this knife. We could try it out with his permission, of course. But I have to believe that is solid in there. I have not really heard any issues with Koenig. This is definitely a knife that I'm interested in picking up at some point, maybe even in 2024. I could definitely see myself getting one of these. It's just a beautiful looking knife. It's a great size, great blade shape. Everything is extremely well finished from, tip to butt. Everything. Nice clean logo here that's not just very subtle. It's not standout-ish. Everything's nice and clean. Looks great. You have a ton of internal milling in there for weight relief. Big pockets of weight relief in there. This thing has been a very hyped knife over the last couple of years, and I think it lives up to that hype. This is a fine specimen right here, and definitely going to be hard to put this back in the zipper pouch. And speaking of the zipper pouch, we have another knife to get to, guys, in a completely separate video, but you are definitely going to want to stay tuned for that, because that knife is possibly and considerably even more high quality than this knife, if you will, to some people, maybe not to some, but it is very high quality nonetheless, and a very exciting design, and I can't wait to check it out myself. I really want to check it out now, but I will wait until we get it on camera. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know what you think of this guy down in the comments. They have a mini Arius. They have the full size, non-flipper, flipper, a lot of different configurations of this knife. Let me know which one you would be interested in, and do you think the flipper would be an issue for you with this exact knife? I'd love to hear from you guys. And don't forget, if you are not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. We are running a massive giveaway right now, 5,000 subscriber giveaway. You are definitely going to want to be staying tuned for that. Love you guys, and I will catch you on the next one.